Greetings weirdlings, Kelly Nova here, and today we are going to learn how to make Lilith's leg armor! When I purchased my boots for Lilith from Borderlands, I actually really fell in love with them, and I decided I wanted to wear them over and over and over again, even out of cosplay. So in order to do that, I had to make something that wasn't affixed permanently to my boot, and that would come off and leave my boot completely intact, and that way I could wear it again. Here is how you make detachable leg armor for Lilith from Borderlands. But first, I remembered this time. Here is what you'll need. Yeah, boots. These are knee-high brown boots. I got them at DSW on sale for like $30. I was pretty excited. So, boots, tissue paper. If you've been watching my videos, I love using tissue paper to make patterns. So you'll need tissue paper in order to make your pattern for your leg, or at least some kind of paper, newspaper, or whatever that will go around your leg. You'll need 2 canvas belts. If you don't have a canvas belt, I suggest going to the thrift store, see if they have any. If they don't, you can get the canvas belting, this part, from any fabric store, and you get it by the yard, and then get a couple of D-rings or some kind of belting or something, because this is what will hold the top of your belt to your armor to keep it on your legs. You will also need EVA foam. I am using about a 6mm thickness exercise pad, and it comes in a giant roll. I decided to use this kind of exercise mat versus this kind of one that interlocks together. This is about a centimeter thickness, and it's really difficult for me to bend it, and it's just not as comfortable for me to wear than this thinner one. I chose the exercise mat because it has this cool pattern on it, and if you look, I ended up using it. It's kind of like a steel grating almost, and that's the look I wanted to go for. I got this roll at Walmart for about $20. If you can't get this at Walmart, but you still want to use the smaller thickness, they do sell sheets of craft foam that are about 5mm-ish in thickness if you don't want to go with the big 1 centimeter thickness ones. That's foam! Yeah, so you need that. You will also need elastic. I used black elastic because it goes better with my gray foam. You will also need Velcro! The kind I got is actually really strong industrial Velcro, and it's about wide. And so I was just cutting it to make it fit whatever I needed. If you prefer to get it already cut, then you'll need about a 1-inch strip here, which is about as wide as your canvas belting. And then get a size that's about as thick as your elastic, however thick your elastic's gonna be. Mine is less than 1 inch. I don't know. You will also need super glue, a Sharpie, and some scissors. I think that's it. Yay! To create the pattern for the shoe, I suggest putting your foot inside the shoe and then draw the pattern out, because the thickness of the shoe is not going to be the same if you just shove something in it like I did here, as opposed to being on your actual leg. So put your leg in your shoe and then draw out your pattern. The way I drew mine, I have it extending from about the zipper here, right there, and then to about the same part on that side of the boot. For the pattern, I wrapped the tissue paper around about half of the shoe, and then I took a Sharpie and I drew out my pattern. And so I'm starting about right where that zipper is, and I'm just drawing a line down, and I want to stop right where this ankle joint is, about right here. Because if I go down further with the movement of me walking in my boot, it's going to cause some issues with the foam going here. So we're going to put another plate here to add to that joint to give you a little more movement. So we're going to make our big plate, our shin plate here, and about there on the ankle. So I'm drawing a line right there at the ankle, and then I'm wrapping this around, and I'm going to eyeball about the same distance, about halfway there, and there we have kind of a jankety pattern there, but that's okay because we're gonna fix it up. I'm cutting out my pattern, that way I can take a look at it and kind of see what I like, what I don't like, what I need to fix, all that fun stuff. And I didn't cut the top off here, so I have it positioned where I want it. I want it to go down to this ankle joint right here and go around. And so I'm going to mark how tall I want it at this point. I'm gonna go just a little bit below the top. That's just what I prefer. It's whatever you prefer, whatever you wanna do. And that is your shin guard panel. There we go. To help me keep my shin pattern in place while I do the bottom plate, I'm going to just tape it in place. So I'm grabbing a piece of tissue paper that I cut from that sheet that I cut this from, and it's about 5 inches wide, so I'm gonna put it right over the toe. It's gonna be curved, so get it to where it curves around your foot like that. Does it curve around over there? Wrap that bottom piece of tissue paper around the shoe to where it covers up that top shin guard pretty well. And now I'm drawing a line right above where the toe of the shoe kind of starts, a little bit above that. So right here-ish. You have the toe here and then stopping right about there. I'm looking to see where my shin guard ends, and I'm taking the line down from there and then curving it like that. And then cut that part out. I actually don't like the shape of that, so I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to line up my edges here at the top, right here, and then I'm gonna fix the shape of it because the shape is actually not symmetrical. That way I have a fairly symmetrical little toe going on there. Like that! And now it goes over there, and it looks nice. There we go. Cool, so when you're happy with your pattern, cut it out of your EVA foam. So when you have your foam, put your shin guard on the shin of your boot, and then put the toe right over it. And you want to secure the corners here. So this corner here and then this corner right here. And that way, when you move, this middle portion will move very nicely, and it's like a little hinge. I use super glue because super glue holds the foam together a lot better than hot glue, because hot glue, as we found out through Talizora, will melt with your body temperature. When you're gluing your foam, be careful not to get the super glue onto your shoe if you want to use your shoe again. It's a delicate process. Be really careful to not do that. At this point, when your foam is dry, if you want to cell shade your if you want to cell shade, do your cell shading now. I just used acrylic paint. I didn't seal it. I didn't do anything special to it because I really liked the raw look of this mat, and it's holding up really well. So I didn't do a whole lot to seal it. I might be regretting that later, but at this point, I mean, it held up through the whole con. It didn't rip. It looks pretty nice. So I just used acrylic paint. The band on the armor has two parts. You have this elastic band that goes under the sole and goes right here to keep this part secured to your foot. And then you have a strap, just like Lilith, that goes all the way around and up to the top, and it affixes to this, this elastic Velcro right here. That way it holds onto your leg, but you can still take it off. Add the elastic band first. It's going to be a lot easier for you to work with this canvas belt if you have something holding onto your shoe to begin with. Take your newly painted, newly glued foam and place it on top of your shoe. And you're going to take your elastic. Now I'm using this to give you an idea of what it looks like, since I know the black is kind of difficult to see on this. So just pretend this is elastic. Take your elastic and you will glue it to the corner of the toe pad part and use your super glue to glue that on there. Once that is dry, then you will take it under the shoe over to this other side of the toe, and you will glue it to that corner as well. And you don't want to pull the elastic under your shoe and make it taut and stretched out when you're gluing here. You want it to be nice and relaxed and normal when you glue it here. The time it will stretch out is when you're pulling it off and on your shoe, and that's what you want. You want the elastic to expand only at that time. So when it's under your shoe like this, it's just normal and chill, and it's just a strap at that point. When that dries, you will look a little something like this. And so I will put it back onto my shoe, and we will start with the belt. There are two ways I constructed how the belts stay on. So I will show you both of them. They both work, whatever one is easier for you. I prefer this one that I'm gonna show you right now, as opposed to this one that is the tab is already glued to the foam. I'll show you why. I prefer this one, so try to do this one as much as you can. So first you'll take your belt and glue it in the bottom corner of your shin where the zipper is. So this is the inner side of the leg. And so you'll glue it at the inner side of the leg on the corner. And as you can see, I have it kind of at an angle, so when I pull the belt, it kind of goes up at an angle like that. And so glue that with your super glue, make sure it's super, super dry before you continue. So when you continue, while you have your boot still on your leg, wrap the belt around. And so it goes around once in the front like this, and it goes around again up to here. And I put some Velcro here so that the strap actually stays up. The first day of the con, I didn't have Velcro on this one in particular. So it wasn't like this where I had the Velcro here and then it went all the way around. I thought, no big deal, everything's gonna be great. No, actually, because I didn't have the Velcro holding the belt here, this actually kept sliding and it ended up looking something like that. Rather than being up and twisted around and looking awesome, it was just not fun. So I suggest making sure on both of them that you do have some kind of Velcro holding your belts up. It'll just be a lot easier for you. And when you Velcro it, make sure that your belting is taut, just like that. So there isn't a whole lot of room for it to move, because if there is, then it'll slide down and you'll get the same problem. I really hope that made sense. Before you put your Velcro, because I want to make sure that you get this on correctly, bring your belt all the way around and make sure it goes to at least this corner of your shin here. Once it does, then you can mark where your Velcro goes. If not, then I don't want you to end up with your belt like way out over here, and there's nothing we can really do about it except try to extend something that way and pull it in. So make sure you have your belt wrapped all the way around before you put your initial Velcro on there. Once your Velcro is on there, it'll help you do this next step. And I have here on this belt, I have a thing of elastic glued under here, and it wraps around right here and it Velcros. And so I can undo that, bring my belt this way with this, this D-ring that's on the belt, and bring it around, and it secures, and it looks awesome. I really suggest putting the strap onto the actual belt itself rather than putting it onto the foam, because when I put it onto the foam on this one was just the problem child, really. So it wraps around this way, and you grab it and you put it through like this. Well, this part started bending this way. And so I looked kind of like this with my boot. Although I like it like this, and it looks really cool, I don't like the fact that it does bend depending on how tight my band has to be. So I suggest putting it on the belt like this one. Okay, so I have my elastic here. It goes kind of at an angle. That way when I pull it this way, it can kind of go at an angle over to here, and that will hold the belt pretty nicely right there. The angle of this tab actually had everything to do with the way I wrapped my belt and the way I had it Velcroed and the whole construction of it. So put on your Velcro however you need to, however it works for you, whatever makes the most sense for you and the belt you are using. The great thing about Borderlands is that it is so customizable that it's absolutely you 100%. So don't worry about complete accuracy. I mean, these are not completely accurate. They look accurate for sure, but they're their own differences because of the physics of what we're doing. I don't really want to show you how I did this one, but I will anyway, just in case you need it. I don't recommend doing this tab here on the actual foam, but just in case you want to, you need to. You take the elastic and you super glue it right here to the back and have it come around to the front, and it's super glued all the way to about here, and that's about halfway through that Velcro that it is actually secured to the foam itself. That way it has a little more movement when you attach the belt to it. And I attach the Velcro. This is the soft side, and then this is the graspy side right here on the tab. The only weird thing I had going on other than this trouble one I don't want to talk about. This one was really nice to me and it was so perfect and so awesome, except that it squeaked, so I sounded like SpongeBob Squeaky Boots. If you know what I'm talking about, you're probably laughing your face off because yeah, that's exactly what I sounded like. Without the drying time, it took me about maybe an hour to do them, mostly because I had to paint. So that was the hardest part. But if you're not painting them, I'm looking at maybe 30 minutes for both. Super quick, super easy to construct, and they hold really well. Is there anything else you want to see me make or do or have any questions about? Leave them in the comments. Let me know. I'm here to help you guys. As always, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, share with all of your cosplay, Lilith, Borderlands, weird girl loving friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the Weird Girls YouTube channel where you can see what we're doing.